Okay.
There we go.
Good evening. My name's John Harrington. I'm a resident of Lewiston, Idaho. Live about 2 blocks away. I came to the LC Valley in 2009, actually in 2008 on a bicycle, and I fell in love with this area. I'm married to a woman. I live here now. My background of a bachelor's in applied mathematics, University of Colorado, master's of science in aeronautical engineering from the Naval Postgraduate School, and a PhD in education from the University of Idaho. I spent 22 years in the Navy as a naval aviator, test pilot, and an astronaut. I flew in a shuttle back in 2002, circled the Earth a few million miles. And what I was going to talk about is an educator perspective, but I'm going to talk about this from a NASA astronaut perspective. And one of the comments that I saw, and Scott provided it to me, which was great, and I can't pronounce his name. It's Representative Scott Smee or Smye? Syme, okay, from Caldwell. The quote was, for me, it wasn't about climate change. It's about just human interaction with the environment. We all understand humans can do bad things. Let's talk about some of the science behind how we mitigate those bad things. Well, as an astronaut, we train for bad things. You know, we train on all the things that can go wrong. If you don't know what those things are and you can't mitigate those risks, what's the point of training? So what I would say to the representative, I'd say to the committee, and I'd love to see what the minutes were from that committee meeting, you know, if you don't teach what those bad things are, you can't mitigate them. You know, you can't, if you're taking out of the standards, the content, you have the natural part, but not the human part, you're not covering the entire area. You have to actually cover all the bases so that you know what those risks are to mitigate. And on launch, there was about a 1 in 300, 1 in 400 chance of dying on a launch on a space shuttle. It's because something in the main engine can give away and ruin the other engines and end us in the ocean or across to Europe. My opinion doesn't matter what that engine's going to do. What matters is what I do in response to what happens to that engine. And that's what we're trained for numerous times. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times that we had to deal with stuff that people found could possibly go wrong, and we trained to that risk. And to take away content from our students to show them what those actual risks are, be it human or otherwise, is not providing them the service that we as their parents, as voting public here in the state of Idaho, in this nation, we need to make sure that our legislators are able to present that content or make the decision that the content that our students can learn will base their decisions on how their life is going to be for the next 10, my grandkids, and the next generation, and so on. We have to be able to provide that information to our students to make educated decisions about what's going on in their world. Critical thinking is an important element that we do not teach specific critical thinking in high school. Classes on critical thinking, you take it in college. Students need to be able to the processes for what fallacies, what different type of arguments are, and how to weigh that against the converging lines of evidence, what's out there. And I think, as my point to legislators are, understand what the risks are. To mitigate those risks, you have to know what they are. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you.